This is Mississippi EyeCare Associates Code of Conduct and Compliance Training video. After completing this training module, you should be familiar with the Mississippi EyeCare Associates Compliance Program, Code of Conduct, laws that govern healthcare compliance, and how to report suspected non-compliance. What is compliance? In its simplest form, compliance means following a rule or request. In healthcare, when we talk about compliance, we refer to the following rules, regulations, policies, laws created by the government, and insurance programs. What is ethics? Ethics is simply doing the right thing. Ethics goes beyond what is allowed by laws and regulations. Mississippi EyeCare Associates Compliance Program includes 6 elements of an effective compliance program as defined states federal sentencing guidelines, written standards of conduct and policies and procedures that promote the clinic's commitment to compliance, compliance education and training for all new hires with annual training for all staff, processes to receive anonymous complaints and to allow complaints from staff without any fear of retaliation. For example, the drop box where employees can communicate with management anonymously, responding to allegations of improper activities, when necessary, developing a corrective action plan, auditing and monitoring to identify potential areas of risk for the company, and investigation and remediation of identified systemic problems and non-employment or retention of sanctioned individuals. Code of Conduct, behavior within the clinic. As an employee at Mississippi EyeCare Associates, you are part of a high-profile optometry clinic in the state of Mississippi. You are expected to always be friendly, professional, and helpful to everyone that comes into the clinic. Because you work for this clinic, our children and their parents will recognize you throughout the region. They will still expect you to be a friendly, professional, and helpful person. Because having a job in healthcare affords you a certain level of respect within the community, you are expected to carry yourself in a way that represents Mississippi EyeCare Associates and the healthcare profession, even when you are not at work. Within the clinic, you are expected to remain a professional at all times. Your tone, choice of words, or even your grammar is a reflection on our clinic. We all feel comfortable when we are talking to someone with polite manners, a friendly face, and positive attitude. The clinic should be a quiet place full of nice and friendly faces. Dating. It is inappropriate to exchange phone numbers or social media information with a customer while at the clinic. Legal matters. As an employee for Mississippi EyeCare Associates, you should avoid breaking state and federal laws. In the event that you are arrested outside of work hours, you should report being arrested to your manager or one of the doctors at the clinic as soon as you arrive. Code of Conduct, discussion of financial matters. It is inappropriate to discuss wages, salary, or bonuses with your colleagues, and doing so are grounds for dismissal. Salary and wages are not public information, and asking someone about their wages or compensation can be very disruptive to the workplace. If you are fortunate enough to ever receive a bonus, it is a one-time compensation. You should not expect that bonus again or consider it as part of your future paycheck. If you are fortunate enough to receive a bonus, you should not compare it to the bonus of others. You should not announce your bonus to others. You should not ask someone else, did you receive a bonus? Or how much was your bonus? Doing so would be grounds for termination. Bonuses should never be expected under any circumstances. Behavior on social media. Employees are expected to portray a positive image of Mississippi EyeCare Associates, refrain from spreading rumors and gossip, and not share confidential information on the internet. Mississippi EyeCare Associates employees will be held accountable for any internet postings, personal or business related, as outlined in the Statement of Employee Responsibilities and Confidentiality, and by the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA regulations. Prohibited social media activities. No photos or videos from Mississippi EyeCare Associates clinics should be posted. No negative postings about Mississippi EyeCare Associates employees and physicians, members, vendors, partners, or competitors. No patient information should be posted. Employees have a responsibility to not talk about internal company information, our patients, employees, and/or business associates to anyone outside the company. This confidentiality restriction applies even after employment ends. So basically, this means that if you get a new job, you can't badmouth our employees, our business, or our patients. United Pursuit. United Pursuit is defined as all of us working together to give our patients the best eye care service in the state of Mississippi. You are part of our team, and you can make a valuable contribution every day. Let's always remember that we are in a united pursuit. Records management. All employees must take great care to guarantee that all Mississippi EyeCare Associates records and transactions are complete, accurate, and timely, and in compliance with policies and procedures. As required by the federal sentencing guidelines, Mississippi EyeCare Associates has policies and procedures in place to ensure compliance with laws and regulations. Standard 1. Quality of care and service. Mississippi EyeCare Associates commitment. We commit to improve the health of the community we serve by providing the highest quality health care, services, and caring in an efficient manner. Standard 2. Privacy and confidentiality. To fulfill regulatory standards designed to handle all facets of information management, including reimbursement, coding, security, and patient records. 3. Coding and billing integrity and records keeping. Our commitment is to maintain timely and accurate patient records and billing only for services actually rendered as documents in patient medical records. 4. Customer service standards. Our commitment is to apply the customer service standards, which are core to our values and to every interaction with every individual at all times, focused on servicing our patients and families. 5. Compliance with laws and regulations. Our commitment is to require all staff members to conduct their individual duties and all Mississippi EyeCare Associates operations in a manner that meets all applicable legal, ethical, and regulatory standards. 6. Workplace conduct and employment practices. To create a work environment in which employees, physicians, and others are treated respectfully, fairly, and afforded opportunities for professional development. 7. Research. We commit to follow ethical standards in any research conducted by physicians and other professional staff. Conflicts of interest. We commit to regulate our activities to avoid conflicts of interest, actual impropriety, and/or an appearance of actual impropriety. 9. Protecting property and assets and information. We commit to protect both our assets and those assets of others entrusted to us against loss, theft, destruction, and misuse. Following this code of conduct is mandatory for all Mississippi EyeCare Associates and employees, staff, and affiliated persons. While the code of conduct provides a basic description of unacceptable conduct or performance, it does not cover all behaviors that may occur in the workplace. Failure to comply with this code of conduct is a serious matter and can lead to disciplinary action up to and including termination. Code of conduct and decision making. At times, a difficult decision may present itself, and the right decision may not be clear or easy to make. As you consider possible actions to take, ask yourself these questions. Is there a law or regulation that governs the situation? If there is, the law should be followed at all times. Is there an internal policy or procedure that governs the situation? Would my action be consistent with the Mississippi EyeCare Associates' commitment to the highest ethical standard? 3. How would my actions be seen by someone outside the organization? 4. Would I feel comfortable explaining my actions to friends, our family, or supervisors? 5. What would the most ethical person I know do? Doing the right thing is not always easy. We have all been tempted to take the easy way, even if it was not the best way. Try to avoid these excuses for behaviors that may not meet the requirements of our code of ethics. Here's one excuse. All the other clinics are doing it this way. Or, no one will ever know. Or, I don't have time to do it the right way. Or, I saw my supervisor doing it the other day. Or, that policy wasn't meant to apply to me. Or, after all I have given this organization, I deserve something in return. There are many resources available to help you determine if there is a law or regulation, a policy, a procedure, or a standard that would apply to a situation you are faced with. You could look to your supervisor, or you could look to the Mississippi Department of Health website. Your responsibility. Mississippi EyeCare Associates' commitment to compliance depends upon everyone's participation for its continued success. To fulfill your role, you must commit to the following. Complete all annual compliance training assigned to you and sign a commitment contract or commitment form. Watch for problem areas or areas of non-compliance while on the job. If you are aware of a violation or of a code of conduct, it is your obligation to report it. As a condition of employment, agree to read and abide by all the codes of conduct and policies and procedures. Education and training. Employees will be educated and trained to comply with policies and procedures, spot potential compliance concerns such as unethical or illegal behavior, medically unnecessary services being provided, unfair or discriminatory treatment of a patient or employee, billing or coding errors that benefit Mississippi EyeCare Associates, unauthorized use or disclosure of protected health information, misuse of Mississippi EyeCare Associates property, fraud, waste, and abuse. The False Claims Act. In sum, the False Claims Act imposes liability on any person who submits a false claim to the federal government that he or she knows is false. The False Claims Act also imposes liability on an individual who may knowingly submit a false record in order to obtain payment from the government. A third area liability includes those instances which someone may obtain money from the federal government to which he may not be entitled, and then use false statements and records in order to retain the money. Healthcare fraud and abuse. Healthcare fraud generally refers to the intentional deception that could knowingly result in the benefit of an individual or organization. Healthcare abuse are practices that lead to an unnecessary cost to healthcare payers. This differs from fraud in that there is no evidence that the act was committed in healthcare fraud and abuse. Healthcare fraud generally refers to the intentional deception that could knowingly result in benefit to an individual or organization. Healthcare abuse are practices that lead to unnecessary costs to healthcare payers. This differs from fraud in that there is no evidence that the act was committed intentionally. The Deficit Act of 2005 says that whistleblower protections will be afforded to those who report or undertake other actions available by law to expose or assure that Mississippi EyeCare Associates' billing practices are appropriate. All reporting should be done via chain of command. For instance, if you find something wrong or inappropriate, you should first report it to a supervisor or to any doctor on staff at Mississippi EyeCare so that we can investigate it and correct the problem. Employees should first talk with their supervisor or any staff doctor when reporting a compliance issue or any other concern. Non-retaliation. No one will be punished or terminated simply for reporting a compliance-related problem. All reported concerns will be reviewed. A suspected violation brought to the attention of management will be reviewed promptly and reported to appropriate parties who will assist in resolving the problem. All reported information will be kept confidential and only shared with those individuals who need to know in order to conduct an investigation, to correct the situation, or as required by law. Penalties. If an organization or person is found to be in violation of fraud, waste, and/or abuse laws or other healthcare regulations, the penalties are severe. Disciplinary action up to and including termination, exclusion from participation in Medicare or Medicaid programs, fines, jail sentences for employees, administrators, and physicians. We hope this video has been both informative and helpful. Feel free to review this course until you are confident about your knowledge of the material presented. You should now take the quiz on compliance and code of conduct.